Hey, what's going on? This is Eric with another weapon tutorial, this time for the Insect Glaive. The Insect Glaive is one of my favorite weapons in Monster Hunter. It's fun, it's dynamic, you get to fly up in the air, dash around, it's like Devil May Cry up in here. It's so stylish and I just really enjoy playing it, and in Monster Hunter World it's actually gotten a whole lot of buffs just based on the system itself. But I'm going to go through some of the basic stuff that a lot of people don't know about that the game doesn't explain too well. And hopefully more people pick this weapon up because it is a joy. It is an absolute delight. The main gimmick of the Insect Glaive is the Kinsect, which is the bug that's on your right wrist. Right? Yeah, left hand makes the L. To use the Kinsect, you hold L2 and you hit triangle to send it out. And you hit circle to get it back. And when the Kinsect hits, it collects what I call nectars. I think they're actually called extracts, but I'm going to call them nectars because that's what I do. And there are four different types of nectars, sorry. There's red nectar, which is primarily, you can think of it as the attack nectar. You get that from mostly monster's head or its claws. Whatever the monster uses to do damage to you, that's probably where you're going to find red nectar. There's white nectar, which you can think of as the speed nectar. That typically comes from a monster's legs or its wings. And there is gold nectar, which I call the defense nectar. And you typically find that on a monster's belly or its back. And each of the extracts gives you a different effect once you've got it loaded onto your body. I'll start with the red nectar, the attack nectar. That basically increases your raw attack power, and it changes your animations to make you do more hits and deal more damage. So let's start off with, let's just show off the triangle combo right now. So you get that, you get that, you get that. That seems pretty okay. It's an attack. But as soon as you get the red nectar, you start going a little more nuts. Every attack gains an additional hit, essentially. And you become a lot more flashy and acrobatic in your combat style. Anytime you've got access to red nectar, you have access to the Insect Glaive's kind of infinite combo, which is triangle, triangle, circle, triangle, triangle, circle, and so on and so forth. At any point, you can end that combo with an additional circle to do the tornado slash, which is pretty nice. That's what you should use when the monster's down and in front of you. It advances forward, which is really nice, so you're always going to be right up against the monster. Red nectar also improves your jumping attacks. So your jumping slash, your triangle attack, turns into this falling buzzsaw attack, which is really nice. And your advancing slash turns nuts. It turns you into a whirling dervish, and the final hit of it does your pop-up. So if you get up on top of a monster with this, you will do a lot of damage very quickly, which is very cool. Let's talk about white nectar. So white nectar you can think of as the speed nectar. So look at how fast I'm moving right now, and as I collect the white nectar, my movement speed will naturally increase a little bit. You get a minor boost to your walk speed while you have your weapon out when you have white nectar equipped. Last but not least is gold nectar or orange nectar, whatever you prefer. This is your defense nectar. Essentially, getting gold nectar reduces all damage taken. It basically, think of it like an armor improvement that you can pick up in the middle of a fight. It's not too exciting until you mix it with the white nectar, but we'll talk about that next. But yeah, if you are taking too big of hits in a fight, you should look for the gold nectar whenever you can. The red and white nectars interact to improve your critical hit chance, your affinity. Sometimes while you're attacking, you will see a bright red slash on the screen, kind of like a hit effect that will show up, and that means that you have gotten a critical hit. And the white and gold nectars interact with one another to further improve your defense. Getting the triple buff improves everything even more. So when you have the triple buff, your attack is improved to a 3rd level, your defense is also improved to a 3rd level, and your affinity also heightens as well. So basically in every hunt you want to get the triple buff because that's when you're going to start to output the Insect Glaive's true maximum damage. One of the coolest new features in Monster Hunter World is the ability for the Kinsect to produce dust when you mark a monster. I'll talk about what marking a monster means right now. So to mark a monster, basically you put I think of it as like pollen onto an enemy, which makes the Kinsect attack it on its own without you having to fire it out and bring it back. So there are two ways to mark a monster. My personal favorite way is to do it from a distance, which you hold L2 and then you hit R2 to fire this little pollen shot, and your Kinsect will go and attack the monster on its own. And each time the Kinsect attacks a monster on its own, it'll leave behind this little cloud of bees or fireflies or whatever. And these are your dust pockets. And depending on the Kinsect that you have, your dust can have different effects. There are 3 different types of dust clouds that I've seen. There is a poison dust cloud, there's a paralysis dust cloud, and there's a healing dust cloud. To use a dust cloud that's left behind by a Kinsect, you attack it, kind of like what you do with a vigorwasp in the open world. Poison and paralysis, you want the monster to be within the radius of the dust burst when you poke it, and that'll inflict a certain amount of the status effect onto the monster. For the healing effect, you want your allies to be around you while you pop the bubble, because it's a burst effect, which allows you to heal yourself and your allies a little bit while you're on the hunt, which is a really nifty feature. You can kind of use a healing dust effect to build into more of a support class, making your Kinsect keep attacking the monster and leave behind little healing clouds in its wake. So while people are naturally attacking the monster, they'll also be getting little heals along the way. That's about it for the Insect Glaive. This has been my favorite weapon since I started playing Monster Hunter. It's been super... I'm really happy with the changes that it made. I mained aerial Insect Glaive in Monster Hunter Generations, if that means anything to you. So I really appreciate they kept a whole lot of new aerial mobility in with the glaive and didn't just restrict you to the forward and backwards vaulting. It's a really neat feature, and I'm super glad that it's gotten even more powerful in Monster Hunter World. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped some of you guys pick up this weapon, and we'll be back with more tutorial videos later. Happy hunting, and peace.